The Girl from the Sky. It was a quiet night in the small mountain town of Silver Pine. The sky was clear, full of stars. 17-year-old Jake Walker was sitting alone on the roof of his house, fixing his father's old telescope. The wind was cool and everything felt peaceful. Jake was a curious boy. He loved science, stars, and everything about space. He often stayed up late hoping to see something strange in the sky, but tonight, he didn't expect anything special. Then, it happened. A bright light shot across the sky. Not a normal shooting star. This one moved in a strange way. It changed direction, slowed down, then sped up again. Jake stood up, his eyes wide. "What is that?" he whispered. The light grew bigger and brighter. It was coming down, fast. Then, a loud boom shook the ground. Birds flew out of the trees. Dogs started barking in the distance. Jake's heart was racing. He looked toward the forest behind his house. Smoke was rising above the trees. Something had crashed there. Without thinking, he grabbed a flashlight and ran toward the forest. He ran through the dark woods, jumping over fallen branches and pushing through bushes. After a few minutes, he saw a strange blue glow in the distance. As he got closer, he saw it. A metal pod half buried in the ground. It was about the size of a small car, smooth and round, with strange symbols glowing on its side. Jake stepped back. "This is not from Earth," he said to himself. The pod suddenly made a soft humming sound. The symbols turned red. Then, with a hiss, the door opened. Inside was a girl. She looked about his age, maybe younger. Her skin was light blue and her hair was white like snow. She wore a silver suit that looked like armor, and a glowing device was attached to her arm. Jake stood frozen. He had never seen anything like this. The girl was breathing fast. Her eyes were closed. She looked weak, maybe hurt. Slowly, she opened her eyes. They were bright violet. "Please," she whispered. "Don't let them find me." Before Jake could answer, the device on her arm blinked red and spoke in a robotic voice. "Subject exiled. Earth containment initiated." A sudden noise made Jake jump. He looked up. Something was flying above the trees. A black drone, smooth and silent, like a dark bird. It hovered for a moment, then zipped away into the sky. Jake turned back to the girl. She was trying to sit up but failed. "You're not safe here," he said. "Come on, I'll help you." He helped her out of the pod. She was light, almost too light. Her body was cold, but she was alive. "My name is Jake." "He said Lyra," she replied weakly. He looked around. No sign of the drone now, but it would come back. Others might come too. "Can you walk?" he asked. She nodded slowly. Together, they moved through the forest. Lyra leaned on Jake for support. Strange lights flickered on her wrist device, but she didn't explain what they meant. As they reached the edge of the forest, Jake saw his house. The lights were off. His parents were asleep. Good. He took Lyra to the garage and locked the door behind them. He made her sit on an old blanket. She looked around the place with tired eyes. "You helped me," she said. Jake nodded. "What happened to you? Where did you come from?" Lyra looked down. "I was banished. They said I was dangerous, but I didn't do anything wrong, I swear." "Who are they?" She hesitated. "My people, from the planet Elora." Jake blinked. "So you're an alien?" She gave a small smile. "Yes, and now I'm alone." Before Jake could say more, the lights on her device turned blue. She looked scared. "They found me. They're coming." "Who?" "The Watchers." Jake stood up quickly. He ran to the window. Nothing yet. "Don't worry," he said. "You're safe here. I won't let anyone hurt you." She looked at him confused. "Why are you helping me?" Jake didn't know the answer. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the way she looked at him. Not like a human, but not like a monster either. Just someone lost. "Because," he said, "I think you're telling the truth." Outside, the wind picked up again. In the distance, the sound of engines echoed through the night. Something or someone was coming. But for now, Jake and Lyra sat quietly in the dark, both wondering what would happen next. Secrets of the exile, the sun had not yet risen, but a gray light was spreading through the sky. The town of Silver Pine was still asleep. Only the trees whispered in the cold morning wind. Inside Jake's garage, the air was thick with silence. Lyra sat curled in a blanket, her eyes half open, her face pale. The strange device on her wrist now glowed softly blue. It pulsed, like a heartbeat. Jake hadn't slept all night. He sat near her, watching the door, listening for any sound outside. He had too many questions, but Lyra looked so tired, scared, broken. "Can you tell me more now?" he asked quietly. She looked at him for a long moment. Her voice was soft. "I was not supposed to come to Earth. This planet is forbidden by my people. We call it the Lost World." "Why is it forbidden?" Jake asked. "Because Earth is not what you think," she replied. "Your world is not weak. It is dangerous to my kind. They fear it." Jake frowned. "Why would they fear us? We don't even have space travel." Lyra shook her head. "It's not your machines. It's you. Your mind. Your will. Something about humans is different. Wild. Not controlled." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "So why did they send you here?" "Because I refused to obey," she said, her voice suddenly hard. "They called me a threat to the order. They erased my memories and dropped me here to disappear." "But you remember now?" Jake asked. "Only pieces," she said. "Flashes, fear, a voice telling me to run. I don't even know what I did. But I know this. Someone lied. Someone powerful." Suddenly, the device on her arm beeped. A red light, blinking. Lyra's eyes widened. "They've locked onto my signal." "You mean they're coming here?" She stood up, weak but alert. "Yes, but not them. Not yet. First they send the collectors." "Collectors?" Jake asked. "Hunters. Not alive. Not machines. Something in between. Once they mark a target, they never stop." Jake swallowed, hard. He looked around his garage, old tools, broken radios, a rusty bike. Nothing useful against alien machines. He stood up. "We can't stay here." Lyra nodded. "Do you have a safe place?" Jake thought for a second. "Maybe. The old radio tower. No one goes there anymore, no cameras, no signal. Maybe they can't track us there." Without another word, he grabbed a jacket and helped Lyra stand. Together, they left through the back. They moved through empty streets like shadows. The town was waking up, lights in windows, barking dogs, but no one saw them. At the edge of town stood the tall, rusty tower once used for local broadcasts, now forgotten. Inside, dust covered everything. Broken wires hung from the ceiling. Birds nested in the corners. Lyra sat down slowly, her energy fading again. Jake checked his phone. No signal. Perfect. But then, his phone vibrated. No message, no call. Just a static hum. He looked at Lyra. Her device was glowing again. Something was interfering. "They're near," she whispered. Jake rushed to the window. At first he saw nothing, but then a black shape moved across the sky. Slow. Silent. It wasn't flying like a bird or a plane. It was scanning. "They found us," Jake said. Lyra stood. "I'll stop it." "How?" he asked. She closed her eyes. The device on her wrist opened like a flower. Blue light spread out in rings like sonar. Suddenly the drone outside paused. Its lights flickered. It tilted in the air, confused. But then, another sound came, deeper, louder. From the forest, something stepped out. Tall, metallic, 4 legs, glowing eyes, a collector. Jake's blood turned cold. It moved slowly, but with purpose. It had no face, but its head turned straight toward the tower. "Go," Lyra said to Jake. Run! It's me they want. No, Jake said. You're not alone anymore. He looked around. He grabbed a metal pipe, the only thing he could find. Useless, maybe, but he wouldn't let her face that thing alone. The collector reached the tower base. It didn't climb. It melted its way in, cutting through steel with red-hot energy. Lyra raised her hand. Her device formed a small shield of light. The collector's first shot bounced off, but the shield flickered. It wouldn't last. Can you stop it? Jake shouted. Not for long, she said. Then Jake remembered something, a backup generator. He had seen it years ago when his dad brought him here. Maybe, just maybe. He ran to the control room, found the old fuse box. Power was dead, but there was one thing still working, a high-voltage antenna charger. Hey, metal freak, Jake shouted, jumping back into the main room. The collector turned. Jake pulled the switch. A blast of energy shot through the tower's old wires. The antenna sparked, and the electricity hit the collector full force. The creature screamed in a sound Jake couldn't describe. It stumbled back, metal glowing hot, then exploded in a burst of black smoke and sparks. Silence. Jake fell to his knees. The room was full of smoke. His heart was racing. Lyra looked at him, eyes wide. How did you do that? Just remembered. Something my dad showed me, he said, coughing. She walked to him and put a hand on his shoulder. They will send more, she said. Then we keep running, he said. She shook her head. No. We stop hiding. We find out the truth. And we fight. They are watching. The sun had fully risen over Silver Pine, but the light did not bring comfort. It brought shadows, long, creeping shadows that moved where they shouldn't. Jake stood on the roof of the old radio tower, watching the road far below. No one came up this far anymore, not even hikers. Still, he couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching them. Inside the tower, Lyra sat cross-legged, eyes closed, breathing slowly. Her wrist device hovered just above her skin now, floating with soft light. Data flashed across it. Alien, symbols unreadable to Jake. Are you meditating? Jake asked as he stepped inside. No, Lyra said softly. I'm listening. To what? She opened her eyes. To the Watchers. They're speaking, not with words, with patterns, signals, fear. Jake stared at her. You can hear them? She nodded. They're not just looking for me now. They've started watching the whole town. Wait, Silver Pine? Not. Just Silver Pine, she said. Earth. Scene transition, elsewhere, high above Earth, a satellite, hidden among human ones, began to spin faster. Its black lenses opened like a flower. Red lights flickered. Down below across the world, strange signals passed through cables and airwaves. TV screens blinked, phones buzzed with static, radios glitched for 1 second too long. Something was sinking, back in the tower. Jake, Lyra said, standing quickly. They are testing you, your world. For what? To see if you're ready to be harvested. Jake blinked. What does that mean? She looked down. If a world shows strength, they watch. If a world stays blind, they take. Jake stepped back, his voice shaking. Take what? Everything. Lyra's device beeped. The hologram changed. A red dot was blinking. What's that? Jake asked. Someone else, she said. Someone is sending out a signal from the town. A human? No, she said. A trader. Scene transition, Silver Pine Town, in a small bookstore. Near the edge of town, a quiet man named Mr. Helms typed on an old computer. The windows were covered with blackout curtains. The shelves were dusty, untouched. He wasn't really a bookseller. His fingers moved fast. Alien letters filled the screen. One word blinked at the top. Report subject Lyra located. Tower confirmed. Initiate protocol Omega. He pressed send. A small scar on the back of his neck blinked green. Back to the tower. We have to move. Again, Lyra said, standing. We can't keep running forever, Jake said. What if we fight them? We don't even know who's helping them, Lyra replied. Maybe we should find out. Jake walked to the edge of the tower room and pulled out his old laptop. He typed quickly. I'm checking the town's emergency broadcast system, he said. My dad used to be part of it. I still know the password. What are you looking for? Lyra asked. Strange activity, hidden messages, secret broadcasts. After a few minutes, Jake stopped. He stared at the screen. There, he said. Something is broadcasting from inside the bookstore, but it's encrypted. Can you break it? Lyra asked. I can try. He typed, eyes focused. Lyra watched quietly. Then, the signal cracked open, and a line of alien code poured onto the screen. It wasn't just a message, it was a map. What is that? Jake asked. That's a gate, Lyra whispered. A gate to what? To another world, to the Empire. They're building it here. Scene transition, forest outside Silver Pine, deep in the woods under an old government facility that was shut down years ago. Workers in black armor moved through a giant underground chamber. A huge circular ring stood in the middle. Parts of it glowed with shifting energy. Alien machines hummed around it. At the edge of the chamber, Mr. Helms entered, eyes cold, voice robotic. The girl has been located. The human boy is with her. The commander turned, face hidden behind a silver mask. Then activate the gate, he said. Bring the enforcer. Back in the tower, Jake slammed the laptop shut. They're building something underground, he said. We need help. Who will believe us? Lyra asked. I'm not from your world, and you're just a boy with a telescope. Then we find someone who knows the truth, Jake said. He reached into an old crate and pulled out a dusty photo. This is Dr. Cass. He used to work for NASA. People said he went crazy, started talking about alien signals. But maybe he wasn't crazy. Where is he now? He lives in a cabin up in Eagle Ridge. It's a few hours from here. Lyra looked outside. The sky was darkening again, clouds moving fast. Then we leave now, she said. As they stepped out of the tower, Jake glanced up. In the sky, he saw a flicker. Not a star, not a plane. A shape, watching. He grabbed Lyra's hand. Run. Inside the gate facility, the enforcer awoke. 10 feet tall. Armor like liquid metal. Eyes like burning coals. No voice, no soul. Just one mission. Find the exile. Erase the witness. Prepare the earth. The Watchers had sent their best. The truth of Elora, the road to Eagle Ridge was narrow and broken, weaving through dense forest and steep hills. Cold fog clung to the trees like ghosts. The old truck Jake had borrowed groaned. With every turn, Lyra sat beside him, silent, staring out the window. Her eyes didn't blink often now. She was watching everything, not for beauty but for danger. Jake finally spoke. You're quiet. I'm listening, she replied. Again, always. They don't stop watching. They never sleep. What happens if they find us before we find Dr. Cass? We die. Jake looked ahead. The mountain grew steeper. Somewhere beyond the next bend was the cabin, if it still existed. What if Cass isn't even alive anymore? Jake asked. Lyra turned to him. Then we are alone. Scene transition. The cabin at Eagle Ridge. The cabin looked abandoned. Wood rotten, windows broken. But the door was strong, metal, sealed with 3 locks. Jake knocked. Nothing. He knocked again. A voice crackled through an old speaker hidden in a tree. Go away. No one lives here. We know who you are, Jake shouted. Dr. Cass. You studied signals, alien ones. A pause. Then, say the signal. Jake froze. What? Say the signal. Lyra stepped forward. Her wrist device lit up. She held her arm close to the speaker. A tone came out. Not a human sound. Something deeper. Older. The door unlocked. Inside, everything was clean. Silent. Alive with machines, screens, cables, alien, tech, and old radios. A tall, thin man with gray hair and sharp eyes stepped forward. He stared at Lyra, then at Jake. "You brought her here," Cass said. "You knew she was coming?" Jake asked. "I didn't know who," Cass replied. "But I knew something was coming. The Empire always leaves a trail. Signals, war, death." Lyra looked at him. "You used to work for them?" Cass nodded. "Yes, before I learned the truth." The memory cage. Cass guided them to a chair surrounded by wires and lights. "It's called a memory cage," he said. "Built from pieces of alien tech. It can unlock blocked memories if the mind is strong enough." "I'm ready," Lyra said. "No," Jake said. "What if it hurts you?" "I have to know who I am," she whispered. "I have to remember why they fear me." She sat down. Cass activated the machine. Blue lights wrapped around her head. Lyra's body stiffened. Her eyes rolled back. Then she remembered Lyra's memories. Flashback. She was standing on a shining bridge of light. Below her, cities floated in the clouds. She was young. People were shouting her name. Princess Lyra, daughter of rebellion, Ao. Man stood beside her, tall with golden armor. Her father. He placed a crystal in her hands. "This holds the key," he said. "The truth about the Empire. Their lies. Their fear of Earth. Protect it." Guards burst in. Lasers flew. Her father pushed her into an escape pod. "They will erase your memory," he said, "but your heart will remember." As the pod closed, she saw him fall. Back in the cabin, Lyra screamed. The lights exploded. The memory cage shut down. Jake rushed to her. "Are you okay?" Tears ran down her face. She nodded slowly. "I remember everything," she said. "I was never banished for a crime. I was exiled to stop the truth from spreading." "What truth?" Jake asked. "That the Empire did not create the stars," she said. "They stole them." Cass stepped forward. "They find young civilizations, planets like Earth, and if the people seem strong, they wipe them out before they grow." "That's why they're watching us?" Jake asked. "Yes," Cass said. "Your people don't follow the pattern. You're too curious, too wild, too hard to control." Lyra looked at Jake. "You are the reason they fear Earth." "Me? Not just you. Your kind, your hearts, your fire." Cass nodded. "And that's why they want to destroy you before you rise." Emergency alarm triggered. Cass's monitors flashed red. Signal breached. They found the cabin. Lyra stood. "We fight now." Cass opened a wall panel. Inside was a human-alien hybrid weapon, a gauntlet, half machine, half light. He handed it to Jake. "You're not a soldier," Cass said. "But you don't need to be." "What am I then?" Jake asked. "You're human," Cass replied. "And sometimes that's more dangerous than any army." Outside, trees began to burn. A sound like thunder rolled over the hills. The enforcer had arrived. Its eyes burned like fire. Its voice was the sound of metal grinding bone. "Subject: Lyra, subject 0027 human. Prepare for deletion." Jake and Lyra stepped outside together. Cass followed. No more running. This time, they would fight. Hunters from the stars. The sky above Eagle Ridge was no longer blue. It pulsed with a strange purple light, like the atmosphere was being bent from above. Somewhere beyond the clouds, something massive was watching. Jake felt the mountain tremble. Beneath his feet, the enforcer had arrived. A creature of armor and code, born in a lab outside time. Its body was smooth like liquid metal, yet moved like a living nightmare. Silent, fast, and full of rage. It wasn't just hunting Lyra anymore. It had scanned Jake, marked him. Outside the cabin, Cass gripped an old plasma rifle with shaky hands. "If we're lucky," he said, "it will try to kill us quickly." "And if we're not?" Jake asked. "Then we become data." Jake didn't understand at first. "Data?" Lyra answered. "They don't always destroy. Sometimes they copy. Minds. Memories. Your pain. Your last thoughts. And they store it." "Why?" Jake asked. Because your fear helps them build better weapons. A long silence followed. Then a voice rolled over the trees, sharp, mechanical, and cold. Target location confirmed. Emotional pattern resistant. Beginning assimilation. From the forest, trees began to fall. One by one. Not burned. Not cut. Just vanished. As if space itself was folding inward. The battle begins. Jake ran toward the truck. "We can't fight that," Cass shouted. "We're not trying to win, we're trying to buy time." Lyra stepped forward. "No, we're trying to send a message." Her wrist device opened. Blue holograms danced in the air. The signal began to pulse again, stronger this time. "What are you doing?" Jake asked. "Calling someone." "Who?" "The Resistance." Jake looked at her. "You said you were alone." "I was. Until I remembered." Cass handed Jake the hybrid gauntlet. It wrapped around his arm, adjusting to his body, glowing, with heat. "It won't do much," Cass warned. "But maybe it's enough to make a point." "A point? That Earth isn't as soft as they think." The Enforcer arrives. It appeared without warning, just materialized from the tree line like it had stepped out of another dimension. 10 feet tall, 6 arms, glowing core in the center of its chest. It didn't run. It walked, because it had never needed to hurry before. Cass fired first. The plasma shot struck the Enforcer's arm, but the blast was absorbed instantly like it hit water. "New armor," Cass muttered. Lyra raised her hands. Energy sparked. A beam of light shot forward, but the Enforcer raised its hand and bent, the beam back, redirecting it to the sky. Jake stood frozen. He had never seen power like this. Then the Enforcer locked eyes with him. Subject 0027 human. Adaptive threat level. Increasing. It moved fast. Jake barely rolled away in time. The ground where he stood a second ago was now a crater, still steaming. Jake's gauntlet pulsed. It guided his arm, helped him aim. He fired a pulse of raw kinetic force. It struck the Enforcer in the chest, and for the first time it stumbled. Not far, not broken, but it felt it. Lyra gasped. "You heard it." Jake raised the gauntlet. "Then let's keep doing that." Cass's sacrifice. The Enforcer raised all 6 of its arms. Weapons formed out of thin air. Black needles, red plasma, spinning blades. Cass ran forward. "Wait." Jake yelled. "You're the future," Cass shouted. "I'm already history." He pressed a trigger on his belt. His body exploded in a massive blast of electromagnetic fire. The Enforcer screamed, a sound like metal crying, and stumbled back. Its arms twitching, but it was not destroyed. "Cass," Jake whispered. Lyra placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. "His death gave us time. Don't waste it." The gate activates. Suddenly, Lyra's device blinked green. "The gate," she said. "They've activated it. A portal to bring more Enforcers. Maybe worse." "Then we shut it down," Jake said. She nodded. "But to do that, we go underground." Jake blinked. "Into the facility?" "Yes. But that's suicide. Maybe. Or maybe. It's the only way to show them what Earth is made of. Underground facility. Gate chamber. Beneath silver pine. Deep inside the Earth. The gate pulsed. Energy flowed like blood through alien tubes. The traitor, Mr. Helms, stood near it, his eyes now fully black. The Enforcer's body was regenerating in a pod nearby. He spoke to the darkness. "They're coming," Helms said. "The girl, the human, they think they can stop the future." Voice replied from the shadows. "Not mechanical, not human. Something older. Then let them try. We are the Watchers. And we have watched enough." Escape Plan Earth, the entrance to the underground facility, was buried beneath the ruins of an old power station. Long sealed, forgotten by the world, but still alive beneath the surface. Jake stood at the edge, breathing hard, sweat on his face, dust in his mouth. Behind him, the wind howled like a warning, but he didn't stop. Lyra stepped beside him, silent, focused. "Are you ready?" she asked. Jake looked down into the blackness of the tunnel. No, but we don't have a choice. Together, they descended. Seen, the descent into the dark. The stairs were long, rusted, wet. Each step echoed like a whisper. Strange lights flickered in the walls. Not electrical. Organic. Alien. They pulsed like veins. This place isn't just a base, Jake said. It's alive. It's a hybrid, Lyra replied. Half Empire tech, half human design. They built this with our own hands, Jake muttered. No, she said, they made your people build it without knowing. Your governments, your engineers, they were tricked. Tricked into what? Building their own prison. Seen. The gate core chamber, deep underground, the gate stood like a dark sun. Tall and circular, spinning slowly, it hummed with energy not meant for Earth. Around it were tanks, filled with floating bodies. Human bodies. But they weren't human anymore. Their skin shimmered, their eyes were blank, their veins glowed with something blue. Jake stepped closer to one of the tanks. He nearly collapsed. That's my biology teacher. Lyra checked the interface. They're not dead. Not yet. They're being changed. Into what? Into them. Suddenly the screen lit up. Project Genesis Phase 3, hybrid override activation in 6 hours. Lyra's face turned pale. They're not just observing Earth anymore. They're preparing to replace it. Seen. Betrayal in the dark. Mister. Helm stepped out of the shadows holding a strange blade, glowing black. Too late, he said. You walked right into the graveyard. Lyra stepped in front of Jake. Traitor, she hissed. Visionary, Helms replied. I chose the winning side. Why? Jake asked. You're human. No, Helms said. I was, but humanity is weak, messy, doomed. The Empire brings order. By wiping out freedom? Lyra said. Freedom is just a word. Survival is power. Helms raised his blade, but Jake raised his gauntlet. For the first time, it responded not with energy, but with language, not symbols, appeared in the air. A voice, neither alien nor human, spoke. Code accepted. Hybrid sequence unlocked. The gauntlet morphed. Blue fire surrounded Jake's arm. His eyes glowed white. What are you? Helms whispered. I don't know yet, Jake said, but I'm not afraid of you. Seeing the uprising, Lyra moved fast, disabling the tanks. Jake held off Helms, fighting with a strange power he didn't understand, but it felt like instinct. You're adapting too quickly, Lyra said between commands. No human has ever done this before. Maybe I'm not just human anymore, Jake said. He fired a pulse of energy that shattered the ceiling above Helms, crushing him in a blast of fire and dust. Lyra triggered the overload system. The gate began to spark wildly, the energy unstable. We can't destroy it, she said, but we can shut it down, for now. Then let's do it. As the energy surged, Lyra placed both hands on the control core. Her body arched. The lights dimmed. Her veins glowed. What are you doing? Jake shouted. Linking with the core, she replied. Just like they trained me to. Before they betrayed me. Pain shot through her. Stop! Jake grabbed her. You'll die. If I don't, the world dies first. The final decision. Stay or leave. The gate collapsed inward with a thunderous roar, but didn't explode. Instead, it went dark, silent, dead. Lyra fell forward. Jake caught her. You're okay. You did it. But she shook her head. No. We stopped one gate. There are others. How many? She looked at him. Hundreds, maybe thousands, hidden across the world. Jake stood, heart racing. Then we find them. Not just us, Lyra said. Others will need to know. The humans must choose to rise. And if they don't? Lyra's voice was low. Then the Empire wins without ever firing a weapon. A long silence passed. Jake looked up at the dark sky above them through the broken ceiling. Then we Give them a reason to fight. Final scene, the Watchers. In a distant part of the galaxy, inside a massive station built into an asteroid, a group of beings watched the feed. The enforcer was lost. The gate was silenced, and a human boy had triggered hybrid code, a weapon that was supposed to be impossible. A tall figure turned from the screen. "Prepare the next wave," he said. "Earth is awakening," another voice whispered behind him. "Or maybe, Earth is remembering." The final decision, global unrest. Earth had changed. Since the gate collapse, something had shifted, not just in the ground beneath silver pine, but in the skies above cities, the shadows behind screens, and in the minds of people. The world was no longer blind. All across the globe, strange power surges were being reported. Dead satellites blinked back to life. Old signals once thought lost returned in alien code. Military radars tracked impossible objects. Here 1 second, gone the next. Earth wasn't under attack anymore. It was under judgment. Scene, Silver Pine, the aftermath. Jake sat alone on the hill behind his house. The sky was full of clouds, glowing faintly violet at the edges. He was holding something in his hand. The gauntlet. It no longer glowed, but it felt alive, like it was waiting. Behind him, Lyra approached slowly. She looked tired, more human than ever, but her eyes still held the galaxy. "You're quiet," she said. "I'm thinking. About what happens next." She sat beside him. "I've seen what they can do," Jake said. "How they erase planets like deleting files." "You've also seen what they fear," she replied. Jake turned to her. "Do you think we can actually win?" Lyra didn't answer right away. Finally, she said, "They've studied thousands of worlds, millions of species, but none of them fought back like humans, not because of power, because of heart." Scene, the message to Earth. Inside Cass's old cabin, Jake and Lyra rebuilt the broken transmitter. They patched alien tech with human wires, and together they sent a signal, not to the Empire but to Earth itself. A voice echoed across old radios, hacked news stations, digital billboards. "We are not alone. We never were. The Watchers are real. And they are afraid. Of us." Screens around the world displayed a face, Jake. "They see us as a threat, because we think differently, because we break rules, because we fight for things we love. And now, they're coming to end us, before we become something greater. But we are already something greater. We are human, and we do not go quietly." The world watched, and something stirred. Scene, Lyra's call. Lyra stood in a circle of light, her arm device now fully repaired. The signal to Aelora, the resistance, was open. "They're waiting for you," Jake said. "You could go back, help them fight your war." "No," she said. "It's our war now." "But it's not your planet." She looked at him. "It is now." Suddenly, the device blinked red. Incoming transmission. A face appeared. Old, scarred, strong. "Aeloran." "Lyra," he said. "We received your signal, and we saw the human. You were right. They are not what we expected. Will you help?" "Hartha," she asked. "Yes," he said. "But only if the human stands with us." He looked at Jake. "Will you fight not just for your world, but for all free worlds?" Jake paused, then stepped forward. "Tell the Empire," he said, "the game has changed." Scene, the invasion begins. The sky opened, a rip through the clouds. A giant structure appeared, floating, humming, cloaked in storms. The Ark of Silence. The Empire's mobile execution world. It had destroyed dozens of civilizations. It was here for Earth. As the Ark charged its weapons, signals scrambled across the globe. Missiles launched, aircraft scrambled, nothing touched it. But then, Earth answered, from India to Iceland, from oceans to orbit. Something strange happened. Resistance cells appeared, secret scientists, rogue agents, old Watchers who had defected. They rose, not with perfect weapons, but with truth, timing, and unity. Scene. Final confrontation. Jake versus the new enforcer. The Empire didn't send an army this time. They sent one final weapon, a new enforcer. Built from the last one's broken body, and it had Jake's DNA. They copied you, Lyra whispered. They're trying to use your strength against you. The new enforcer landed before them. Its voice was calm. 2-7 human. You are not an accident. You are the key, and you must be deleted. Jake raised his gauntlet. You copied my body, he said, but you'll never understand my soul. They clashed. Light versus darkness. Will versus control. The earth shook. Scene. Jake's final transformation. As the battle reached its peak, the gauntlet cracked open, not in failure, in evolution. Jake's entire body shimmered with blue-white energy. His heart raced, but he felt no fear. His mind opened. He saw stars, galaxies, possibility. He was no longer just human. He was the proof that humanity was ready. With one final surge, he unleashed the energy into the sky, disrupting the Ark's systems, disabling the Enforcer, and sending a clear signal to the Empire. Earth will not be erased. 1 week later, Earth was scarred but still standing. Lyra and Jake stood beside the rebuilt gate, now under human control. A message had gone out into space. To the oppressed, the hunted, the forgotten. Come to Earth. Stand with us. We are not afraid. Lyra smiled. You changed everything. Jake looked up at the stars. We just got started.